Alrighty, thank you everybody for showing up to this Mastering the Real Estate Excellence with Fieldnotes CRM. Today is May 8th. This is Wednesday, and I had a couple of things to discuss today. One, I want to share with everybody the link to our playlist, so I'm going to throw that in the chat, and when I get this edited, I'll also go ahead and post a link so that you guys can find it and see the history that we have. We got six videos up so far, so that is something that I wanted to share, and then I'll go ahead and share my screen and you guys can see the page. So when you guys you guys can find us, you can search Field Notes, and then you should be able to find under our playlist our Mastering Real Estate Excellence. And then here is all of the videos so far that we've done. So be sure to check those out when you guys have a chance. Now, today, what I wanted to talk to everybody about was integrations. So I know a lot of real estate agents work with brokers and work with companies that supply CRMs. So I think I did like a little search on my end, and I found that there is a list like KV Core. KV Core is a popular one that I've seen people talk about and what we've had to do integrations. So they'll get their leads from KV Core to go into our CRM. Where's the other one that I was thinking of? KV Core was one, and then we've also done integrations with KW Command. That's for Keller Williams. There's another one that I'm trying to remember that who uses it. It's the Remax, but I don't know if it's KV Core, but they have one as well. And so if you're thinking of syncing not only those, but there's also a bunch more like HubSpot, many other different, but these aren't supplied by whatchamacallit, brokerages. These are sometimes people have access to these CRMs, and so what they need is integration. So for you to know that if you needed to integrate from one CRM to another, you could. And the way that we would do that is through Zapier. So I don't know if you guys know what Zapier is, but I've heard people call it, refer to it like internet glue. And that's when you have one company that doesn't have a direct connection with another company. Well, in a lot of cases, they have connections with Zapier. And if they have connections with Zapier, then you can connect Zapier or your CRM or your Excel file. You can do Google Sheets. You can do really anything, even like MailChimp. So if you've got like a newsletter set up and people subscribe to that, you could also have that come into our CRM through MailChimp. Many different reasons to connect one service to another service, and you would be doing that with Zapier. So we use, well, this is just a free account that I signed up for. You'll get 100 Zaps for the free plan. So this is usually, I would say, good for some people to at least test it out. And if it starts to really work out for you, well, then definitely, think about maybe getting a paid subscription. And if you do that, you'll get a little bit more bells and whistles, plus you'll get more Zaps and you can transfer more data over from one place to the other. And so what I have as an example was an Excel sheet in which essentially what I did was, let me see if I took all of the fields that we have in our CRM, right? So let me show you all of these fields. I basically synced that to an Excel. And I basically added that Excel to online Excel. And now I can add contacts from here. So let's say you had, another working relationship with somebody else that, they help you get leads or something like that. And so they add them to an online Excel that you guys share. This would be a perfect example how that person could simply update this sheet, and then those leads would go into Field Notes. So these are some of the tests that we've done, just randomly to get into the system to show how they come in. But I'm going to go ahead and do one now, so it gives it a little bit of time to. So let me go ahead and put in, let's do Jess and then last name Bell. And let's do a email. So jess@jessbell.com. And let's give her a phone number, so we can do anything random as long as it is 10 digits. And this is a sphere. So this is also what you can sync up, and you can map this kind of activity. So if you have a sphere that you wanted to link, and by linking spheres, you could also link action plans as well. So with that, let's go ahead and just use this same sphere that I've created, client. And I think that has been, because there's so many categories that you can sync for testing purposes and just for showing the proof of concept. I have just picked these ones, but you really can kind of have all kinds of groups set up. You can have your categories for buyers and seller, your relationship status. So essentially everything that you have in your CRM, when it comes to these categories, you can set those up in the Excel. So I guess you could create a legend, and you could explain to the person who's using the system, okay, these are the categories that you can select, and you can add to the contact, so that when the contact is added through Zapier, it imports all of this information. Now, if you had automation set up, you would see that by going to your action plans and using those as triggers. So let's look at this action plan as a, for instance, you could, is this scheduled by date? Nope. You could do business rules, or you could do advanced options. And you can, obviously you can set up the parameters that you want, but the ones that we are looking for that will trigger something is spheres, and then has values. And then you can find this, and you can save the condition. And so we can save more conditions, like must have an email, must have a phone number. But for testing purposes, now with this sphere as a client, if we go and search, this is essentially the people that it picked up onto, because it has the sphere client. And you could start off a series of, whoops, let me get over here. You could start off many different kinds of activities. You could either have an email go out to the individual, right? So if you needed to, if this is, or if these are new clients, or if these are new prospects and they're getting into your system, well, then you can immediately start off with sending a welcome email. You can send a text message to also draw more attention. You could also set up an appointment for yourself to call maybe 20 to 30 minutes after the email and the text message went out. You could set up a couple of days out another appointment for you to do some type of follow-up. If you had a series of emails created that you would like to educate him about the way that you do things, if you had like a roadmap, if you had any type of PDFs that you've created to educate people, or a lot of agents call it their buyer packet or their seller's packet. If you have any of that, in PDF and digital form, you could definitely create one moment. You could definitely create that as a series and give it parameters in which, the first couple of days, it's, the intro, text message, follow-up phone call. And then the following day, you could have another email, maybe another text message, maybe pointing them to the PDF, and then another phone call, another appointment for you to make another follow-up phone call. You could do those kinds of things. And essentially by that lead coming into the system and having the trigger set up to look at that sphere, it would start all of this kind of communication. You really wouldn't have to worry about it. All you would have to do is just kind of follow along with the contacts and make sure that that you're just, paying attention if they reply to any messages, if they send any types of text messages, that you're staying on top of it, and just working the lead. So that is that when it comes to what you can do when it comes to updating this sheet. So I would think shortly this is going to get pushed to our system. But what I can also do is show you how I essentially kind of created this, which isn't too difficult. Zapier really does make it easy for you. And so I did Zaps, and they've got this AI tool where you can say, what would you like to automate, right? So I would, I think I put Excel to Fieldnotes.ai, and then if I would spell it correctly. Okay, so Excel to Field Notes, and then oh, I would like to, I guess, is that enough? It's like, I would like to connect Excel to Field Notes. Let's see if that helps, and then build with AI. Okay, connect Excel sheet to Field Notes AI. All right, so here you can see a new row in Microsoft Excel. So you can basically hit the plus sign, and that's going to go ahead and put that as the first thing that you want to connect. So by doing that, essentially you have to sign in. So it's going to ask you for your login information. So if you're using Microsoft and you have, let's say, a Microsoft account, kind of like I do, you can sign it up, and you can, now this says change, but of course I don't want to do that. We'll keep it like this, but you would essentially add your information and link it, and then it would show you here. And then we can kind of go, and you'll see that it says, where's the storage source, and then the root folder, and then you can begin to look for spreadsheets that you have. So this should import all of the ones that you have linked to your account and that you've created. So the one that I was using for the for testing purposes was this test file. So you can essentially select that, and then worksheet, you can basically select the first sheet, and then you would hit continue. And then of course you need to test the trigger. So just go ahead and click that. And then this is going to essentially take maybe some of the rows that you have there and show it as like a test. So it tells you what ID, it tells you what row. This is Jimbo. And, or you, if you had a different, right? So these are some of the other people that have been added to it, but you can see that you can select either one, doesn't really matter. You can do the first, or you can do the last one. As long as it's in the Excel, right, and it's correct, then it really doesn't matter which one you're connecting. Essentially, it's going to be just for kind of connecting and mapping the data, essentially, is what we're going to be doing. And so you would continue with select two. Let me see one. Okay, so now it's going to take you to the next. When you get to here and you test, it'll take you to the next thing that you want to connect. And so with that, you can essentially select Field Notes. Now with the AI, of course, that just made it real easy by you saying, you know, connect Excel to Field Notes. It went ahead and looked for these Zapier connections. So you could search Field Notes in that connections, and then it would pop up. But of course, the AI just makes it that simple by just plugging in what you want as a request, and then it kind of fulfills. And so now what you would do is choose your Field Notes account. And so I guess I've signed up more than one. So this is where it gives me the option. But in Field Notes, where you'll find this information for yourself is in My Connections. So settings, and then My Connections. And you can, first option is Zapier. So if you've never connected anything, this most likely will be blank for you. But what you can do here is just hit generate an API key. It'll go ahead and put an API key here, and then you can copy it, and then you can take it to here, and you can, if you wanted to add a new account, you can essentially, this is what you'll see when you don't have any accounts, and then you just paste that information into this field and connect with Field Notes. So since I've already done that, we don't need to do that, but then you will have your account that you can pick from and you can connect. So I think this is the one that we were using. And so once you've connected your account, it's going to recognize, and then you can essentially just hit continue. And here is where a little bit of the time is going to take. And that is essentially from the fields that you've, you know, from the header and all these fields that you have in the Excel, you're going to have to map those to from Excel to Field Notes. And how you do that is by essentially going with first name under the first name, and then you can close this, and then you'll see last name, and you can select that. And so here are all the fields that show up in Excel. And so last name, you can select last name. I didn't put in a spouse's name or anything like that, but I know I did. I put email in there. Oops, email. There we go. And you can select email, and you can close. So it really depends how much information you want to import from the Excel. If it was me, I would definitely spend the time and to set this all up, because the more information that you can get in from the jump definitely will help you, the agent, have all the information, So instead of just setting up first name, email address, and phone number, yet you have address, city, state, zip, and let's say referral source. So let's say if there's multiple people, or these comes from many different sources, and you obviously need to track those kinds of things, that would be a good thing to import. Your relationship status, your buyer or seller categories, group and spheres, those are tags and badges that you can apply. All of that I feel is super important. And the more that you get done from the jump, I guess it just saves you time later on. And plus, if you're setting up action plans to immediately go after these people, right? Speed to lead. It's best that you have as much information as possible so that you can definitely just, if you set up an action plan, so 15 to 20 minutes later, you have an appointment to follow up and give that person a call. Well, I think it would be best for you to have all the information at your fingertips and not have to wait and essentially, maybe not know what part of town he's in, or if that person has any type of, like any special comment or any buyer information, or, what they would want to purchase a home for, or what they're looking for. All of that can be mapped from this Excel. So like comments, and I think there's also goal, target price. All of that information is definitely helpful for you to be in the know and how to sell the individual. And so let's go back to here. And then, so email, I think I did phone number. So really not complicated, just take some time to kind of map everything. And so here you would do referral source if there was a referral source that I recorded. Now, the other, small thing that I should mention is if it's one of these categories that has like a multi-select or something like that, or even like a pick one, such as these categories, you would have to have them verbatim here. So let's say you had a different relationship status. Let's just call it new leads, right? You would have to put in here new leads, and you would have to save it and have it already here for the Excel to, if you want that information to come in and to apply this, you would have to do that. So I like to copy from the relationship status, like this little manage items window, because that way, what if you spell it wrong? And if you do spell it wrong, it's not going to work, unfortunately. So let's do relationship status and just paste that. Oh, however, I don't think I mapped the relationship status, so that's not gonna work. But if it was mapped, it would definitely import all of this information from the jump. And so let's just continue with, I think we did phone, we got the email, and then I think spheres is the one, and there we go, spheres. And then we can go down, we can look at all the categories and find spheres. And now you can see where it says client. And since those are the ones that I'm gonna map only just for the moment for, for demonstration purposes, you would hit continue. And then you would essentially test this step. So by testing this, it's actually gonna go ahead and connect everything and actually push a test. And so I don't want to do that because I don't want to affect the connection that we already have. But essentially by you doing that, it's going to spin a little bit and it's going to confirm that it completed, and you will be able to go to your CRM and you'll see that it was added. So let's go ahead and skip this test. It'll skip, and then you can hit publish. So by you hitting publish, this will be live. And then at any point in which you then add leads to this file, you will start to see that those leads start to show up in Field Notes. So let's go back and look at all our contacts to see if by now, there she is. So let's just go ahead and click the contact, and we can see that not only was this information imported, we also got this sphere. And so if we go back to the action plan, and we look at the one that we kind of set up the sphere to trigger with, you'll see that when we search, you'll see that she also now shows up in the list of being detected. So if this was running continuously, that would immediately start off all those um, appointments that these activities in which this action plan was created. So um, just a way of automating things. And I don't know if anybody has heard speed to lead, but that is obviously huge when, when you get a new lead and you can get to them immediately, especially now with the current climate that the real estate is kind of going through. I wouldn't waste any time reaching out to somebody who's a potential that could use your services. I would definitely try to get to them as quickly as possible, because if they're looking and they've never seen you, and they don't even really know about you until you reach out to them, they could be consistently looking for people. And a lot of people meet people in different places, and so you would hate to get a prospect, and then because you weren't able to um, connect with them quickly, they've by that time they've already made a decision and working with somebody, and so you could find yourself not really being able to do much. There's also like other services that when you get notified of the lead, they've already you know they've already been notified through, in some cases, 10 or 20 other agents. And so it really is the first agent that can reach out to them, the one with the best, I guess, with the best talking points and the best seller, right? Is that person's going to be able to lock them down. And if that's the case, well, then you might find yourself people not following up with you, people just going dead straight from the beginning, or ghosting after, one intro call or something like that. And so definitely automating these kinds of things and having from A to Z when it comes to your lead source, or your team, getting you the lead, that kind of stuff, that should definitely help everybody kind of, what would you say, stay on top of business, and then, hopefully write as much business as possible. So let me see here. Let me see if this kind of showed that it did, and it did take a couple of minutes, so it wasn't instantly. I think within 5 or 10 minutes, that lead was in. And so if you take the next steps and trigger the plan based off of those categories and things like that, I definitely think it would help you. I mean, and you can even go as to, like, if you do an email using smart tags, if you wanted to have something emailed to you, you could take the person's email out of the equation so that it doesn't email him. And then you're the person now that gets the email, and you could import smart tags. And sorry about that. And you could do smart tags. So you could, let's say you're uploading the address, you want to see the address, you want to have first name, you want to have last name. There's last name. What else could you do? You could do phone number. That's extremely important. Where a phone number? Yeah, phone there. Do email. Where is that? There it is. And so now you could set this up, and you can call it, new lead. And you can even put smart tags in here as well if you wanted to, right? So if you wanted to have, let's say, referral source, there you go, new lead, and then you have referral source. So now you're going to get an email titled new lead, and then it's going to have the referral source in which this person was entered in. So you would have to do that obviously from the mapping and all of that kind of stuff, like I mentioned before. And then you would know immediately, okay, got a new lead from this person. Open up the email, you're going to find all of the important details, and you can start your phone call from here. And save yourself from having to go into the CRM Really just depends how you use things. But we do have a what is it, a mobile app for Field Notes for you to get access to your contacts and stuff. So you could definitely use that if you wish, or you can set this up if you like email. And then you could do that. Of course, all you would have to do is hit save and kind of put it in the communication, give it whether if it's a send now, which most likely that would be a good request, or if you wanted to send it, 5 minutes after the email and the text message was sent, you can select that, and then you could hit save. You can put that into the list of communications and the activities. But essentially, it just when you can automate things for yourself, whether it be from one service to another service, it saves you having to enter in data, having to think about it, especially if you use this in a way to begin the communication. It could even help you reaching out to these people. They get the email, they get the text message. If they get a text message and you're signed up with the service within the system, if they call that phone number, it will ring to your phone because it's forwarded, and they'll immediately be talking to you. If not, you can also create a really good, in settings, you can create a signature, not only for emails, but you can do one for text messaging. And in there, if you have like a Popple link, if you have one of those digital kind of contact link, you could definitely place it there. And then that way you're, letting that person have access to. So Popple's pretty cool because if they open up the link, they can not only save your information, but I think they share their information with you. So if let's say you just had a phone number, or if it was an email or something like that, and you wanted to get more details, that would work. They would share their information to you, and then you would get like a notification of it. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things an agent can do to automate themselves so that they're not having to enter in all this data, nor do they have to initiate any of this. When helping somebody with this many moons ago, creating automation was like really the next step for her, and she did it in a time in which it was like the holidays, and she's kind of like a mother, a real estate agent, and a wife, and so she's definitely got so many things on her list. But one thing she mentioned was she was able to go to all of her children's events, she was able to go to soccer, for her son and daughter, and she was able to essentially be 100% in the zone when it was, going to her child's events and not having to worry about, oh, was that person entered? Did that person get the first email? And then all she would get was people following up with her, responding to all of that kind of stuff. So she wasn't chasing anybody. She was not going after anybody, trying to get people to call her. Essentially, the system was doing everything for her. And so that was something in which she mentioned that once she set this up, she definitely noticed. And since it was the holidays, Thanksgiving was coming around, Christmas, and she was 100% devoted to all those events, yet she knows her systems were taking care of these clients and assisting them and helping her with, reaching out to these people. So it was a good thing for her. And I definitely think integration for real estate agents is kind of like the next step to their grocery list of things to do to make their business that much more. How can I say? Once you start to leverage technology, you can actually kind of take on more, right? So if it took you, 15, 20 minutes just to deal with one lead, the old way, which was, getting the lead, taking the email from the person or going to the Excel sheet and then copy pasting that person's information here and putting all of that kind of stuff and then hitting save. So now that you have the contact save in your CRM, and then you want to send that person, the start email. So I don't have email set up connected to this, but then you send that initial email from your templates. That's a little time consuming. Then you want to send that person a text message. If you get busy, which real estate agents always are busy, right? There's moments in which they get they're on something and then somebody calls and they have to, and sometimes just drop everything to go meet with a client and stuff like that. So with that said, this would be the best thing to have, because you just essentially have to get it into this file and you'll know that everything else will import and start off action plans, send out activities, notify you. you know it's really a good system, especially once you've set this up. It's only like a one-time kind of connection kind of thing that you have to deal with, and then after that it's just totally use it to your benefit, and hopefully it allows you to close that many more deals in a year, and you can deal with more clients at a time. And having a CRM definitely will let you deal with more people. I would say you could deal with thousands of people and with just one CRM. But if you tried to manage 1,000 of your contacts with Excel and your normal emails, it'll be real hard to kind of do with what a CRM can do. So that is what I wanted to discuss and bring to you guys. I don't know, Jess, if you're still around, but if you had a chance to hear, and if you have any questions in regards to integrations, or if you know of any other systems that you would like to integrate to your system through Zapier and things like that, if you have any ideas, since you're a real estate agent.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that could be done. It's just a matter of um figuring it out. Just like I have historical things that I think could be really useful. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So,
know that any system, essentially, you can go to Zapier and you can basically, I think from the web page, you don't actually have to be logged in, but it actually lets you kind of um, put in the types of services that you wanted to connect, and then it'll give you, if like they have those two companies that you're looking to connect. And so since Field Notes is in Zapier, there's like set schedule. If you use set schedule, um, I've done it for Dave Ramsey leads with this email parcel. So you can actually create through Zapier, they give you a special email. And if you email specific details to it, those are also mapped to the CRM. And so you can essentially just email that email, the lead, and then that lead goes into the system. And then it starts off a whole bunch of, action plans, or at least gets the person into your CRM. And then that way you can begin to manage them and that kind of stuff. So if you had questions on what company, what I like to do is just go to Google, and I usually do the names of two companies and then Zapier, and then Google will kind of take you to the article that Zapier has with those two connections. And then once you see that, you know that you can connect it and get automated.
yeah.
So I definitely thank everybody for showing up. Thank you, Jess. And then for anybody that has any questions about this, definitely reach out to me. And if you need some help connecting, or just deciding what you should be connecting and that kind of stuff, definitely here to help. And so it was a pleasure. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Ciao, ciao, Jess.